Earlier this year, we got behind the wheel of the Kia Seltos facelift. In fact, it was this very version that we drove. Well, now it's back with us again, and this time for a more comprehensive look. What is this comprehensive look, you ask? Well, we're going to tell you 5 things that we like about the new Kia Seltos and 2 things that we think Kia could work on for future versions of the car. Before we dive into our 5+2 of this Kia Seltos facelift, here is the complete price list and the various powertrain combinations that you can get with this car, and boy is it a big one. The Kia Seltos is available in 3 trim levels, Tech Line, GT Line and X Line, which is what we have in our video today. You get 3 engine options, a 1.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol, a 1.5 litre GDI turbo petrol and a 1.5 litre diesel. The NA petrol is limited to the Tech Line, while the turbo petrol is available with the Tech Line, GT Line and X Line trim. The diesel is available across the range. All 3 engines have a 2-pedal option as standard, while only the NA petrol has a proper 6-speed manual on offer. When the Seltos arrived in 2019, it changed the game in terms of what to expect in terms of interior space, interior quality, and of course feature list. After all, if you're the opening batsman for a new team, a lot is expected from you, right? Well, with this upgrade, which had been due for a while, Kia has made the already loaded Seltos even more loaded. And instead of having 1 or 2 new killer features, it's hedged its bets by spreading out the budget. First up on the upgrade list is this big one-piece display housing a 10.25-inch unit for the infotainment system and a full digital instrument cluster. The interface on the infotainment system is quite basic and actually very similar to what was offered on the pre-facelift Seltos, which is, if you put it simply, it's more functional than aesthetic, but gets the job done. The paths to where you need to get to and the connectivity features are quite good. It means that you spend less time looking at the screen and more time focusing on the road. The infotainment system is mated to an 8-speaker Bose sound system, which does the job pretty decently, but could do with a little more punch. The instrument cluster is really nice with a high quality display and very colorful looking graphics, and this working in tandem with the HUD makes for a really nice driving experience. One of the things that we really liked was that you get like a little animated Seltos that's permanently there, and especially when you turn on the ADAS functions, it moves with the car and is quite dynamic that way. Other fancy bits include dual zone climate control, electric mirrors, power windows, controllable ambient lighting with mood settings, connected car technology, power driver's seat, front row seat ventilation, second row recline, dual blind spot monitors, and a 360-degree camera, which is very useful when you need to park face first on a public road. All versions of the Seltos now have 6 airbags, ABS with EBD, traction control program, and ISOFIX child seat mounting points. So one of the new additions that Kia has put in the car is level 2 ADAS. It's something that's expected in the segment, and Kia has finally brought it to the Seltos. You get around 17 ADAS features, the top of which is the adaptive cruise control that we're now going to demonstrate. Okay, so we've got the cruise control on, and the car in front of us, it's reading the distance. Now as the car picks up speed, we pick up speed. Once the car slows down, it automatically starts to brake us. As I'm demonstrating right now, I have my foot off the throttle, the car in front of me brake, this brake. And while that is an effective way of driving, it's not an overall solution given how random our traffic is. It's always better that you be cautious. Think of this as something that aids and improves your driving experience, but not covering it overall. The third demonstrable feature that's a part of the ADAS is the lane keep assist. Lane keep assist, very simple. The camera reads the lines or reads the markings of the lane, and if you veer, it puts a weight on the steering and brings you back to the middle of the line. Lane keep assist is very useful and keep you going in a straight line, and it reads the lines and adjusts your readings, but it's not that level of ADAS where it will also turn the car for you. That you have to do yourself. This just keeps you between the lines and is useful when you're doing long distances and may have a little wane in attention at times keeps you on track. By the way, that also has a attention assist as a part of the ADAS package. The adaptive cruise control is capable of recognizing moving objects and will adjust your speed accordingly, both in terms of picking up or dropping the pace, and will even emergency brake if you land up in such a scenario. What it can't account for is large objects like a traffic circle, and that's something you should be careful about. The pre facelift Seltos had one blind spot monitor, while this one has two, which turns out to be useful when you least expect it to do so. We also like the rear assist package as it is effective in taking charge and braking if an errant object jumps into your path. And this brings me to my next point, which is that while ADAS is detailed and effective, its biggest folly is the person behind the wheel or handlebar. It can't account for the errant behavior of other motorists, and that is something that you, as the person behind the wheel of a Seltos, should be prepared to deal with. It seems that even Kia has taken this into account and made the ADAS a bit aggressive in terms of response, and you should learn to live with it and anticipate its intervention or get into a habit of turning it off before you set off to prevent any surprises. Here is a full list of ADAS functions available with the Seltos. One of the places where Kia spent a large part of its budget is to improve the overall driving experience of the Seltos. And specifically with this version, it's a new 1.5 litre turbo petrol that replaces the old 1.4 litre turbo petrol. And this engine is not just for this car; it's across the Hyundai and Kia family. This new turbo petrol engine can be had either with a 6-speed IMT or a 7-speed DCT, which is what is in our car today. This engine produces about 160 bhp and 253 Nm of torque, and if you look at it, that's almost the same output as what the 1.5 litre diesel engine produces. And if you look at it in the larger scheme of things, when diesels go out of fashion and they have to discontinue that engine, it's this that's going to take its place. The engine is a very lively one, and from the word get-go, even at part throttle input, you get an instant response. The 7-speed DCT is a bit slow to respond, but once you get a kickdown, there's a nice surge of torque, and you can ride a wave of torque to keep you going. The torque is available just in a shade little over 1500 RPM, which means that whether you're doing city speeds or you need to cruise on the highway, you're never lacking for punch. And like we said, if you just lay it down, the car just takes off in a surge, and you can gather up pace and quickly get to 3-digit speeds. Like we said, out on the highway, when you need to cruise long distances, this engine is going to do wonders for you. And of course, it's decently efficient too, as we shall tell you a little later on in this video. Now, this engine has been paired to steering that has a nice response and a nice weight to it, and that really adds to the driving experience. In addition, you also get paddle shifters, which are actually pretty responsive, and if you want like a nice involved driving experience, then the paddle shifters do the job quite nicely. Now, another place that Kia has worked on in upgrading the driving experience for the Seltos is ride quality. Ride quality is slightly on the firm side, but it actually does the job pretty nicely. But the thing is that as Vikrant had said in his review, the ride is good, it's compliant, but it's not invincible. Not invincible like you would get from some of the body-on-frame vehicles that rival the Seltos in this price and segment category. Some of the firmness of the ride also comes from the fact that this X-Line variant that we're driving runs on 18-inch wheels, and you tend to feel the road a little more aggressively. However, it's something that you'll just get used to in the long run. But like we said, the ride is not invincible, and you have to be careful with those 18-inch wheels, especially when the pothole or imperfection looks really big. Take it with a bit of caution. We tested this powertrain and found that it does the 0 to 60 kmph sprint in 4.61 seconds, the 20 to 80 kmph kickdown in 5.67 seconds, and the 40 to 100 kmph kickdown in 6.53 seconds. The all-important 0 to 100 kmph time comes up in 9.2 seconds, making this one of the fastest budget cars that we have tested this year. These numbers are indicative of a very strong mid-range, very similar to how a small capacity diesel engine responds, almost making it seem like when diesels are finally done for Kia, this will be their successor. In terms of fuel efficiency, in our real world test, we got 10.84 kmpl in the city and 16.07 kmpl on the highway, a figure not too far away from Kia's claim of 17.9 kmpl certified for this powertrain combination. Along with upgrading the feature list, the other place where Kia has spent a large chunk of its upgrade budget is in the cabin. And in this X-Line version that we are driving today for the video, you get an all-black cabin with what Kia calls sage green interiors. It is a really uplifting vibe, a very nice color combination, especially if you open up the dual panel sunroof. It really uplifts the cabin almost instantly. There's a nice combination of glossy plastics, soft touch surfaces, and the leather wrap on the steering is a really nice touch. Now, while all of this is very nice, what we found slightly lacking was this climate control interface. It's quite similar to what was offered on the pre-facelift car, and we felt that if you have done so much to upgrade the cabin, then this too could have got upgraded. I mean, it's not a place you normally pay that much attention to, but again, like we said, if you've spent that much on upgrading the cabin, this could have joined the party too. In terms of space, the front, there's no issues with shoulder room, there's no issues with knee room, and despite this very heavily raked windscreen, you don't have issues with headroom either. The only problem that we can see is that because the windscreen is raked so sharply, the HUD tends to get in your line of sight, but it's one of those things you'll just get used to once you start using the car regularly. We are here in the second row of this updated Kia Seltos, and dimensions wise it's not changed, so you get roughly the same space inside. There's no issues with headroom, no issues with shoulder room for two people to sit inside. But if you bring in a third one, you can notice that the seat base is different here. There's an armrest, and you also have to deal with the center console coming out, which means that for long distances it is going to be a bit problematic. The rear seats recline and you get an armrest with two cup holders. Now, in terms of practicality, it's actually pretty decent. You get two 1 liter bottle holders at the back and 8 different storage spaces in front, and of course these seat back pockets. The boot stands at 433 liters and the rear seats split fold in a 60-40 configuration. The loading lip is not very high and it is easy to hoist luggage into the boot without much effort. This is not a gripe in a true sense, as given our traffic situation, on automatic in any form seems to be the only way forward. But if you love driving and are willing to do the shifting no matter what, then the Seltos has very minimal manual options. Depending on the scenario, you will either get a 6-speed IMT, a 6-speed torque converter automatic, or a 7-speed DCT like what we have in our car today. The only place you can get a manual Seltos is with a 1.5 liter NA 4-cylinder petrol engine. Another issue we have with the car, well, it's not again so much an issue as it is a reality of the situation, is with the matte paint scheme. Now, while it looks fantastic and unique, and the fact that Kia was the first to offer a matte paint scheme, a lot goes into maintaining it. When the car had come along for the first time about 2 years ago, the people that helped us maintain our cars quoted actually 3 times the price of normally what they would give us to shine, polish and wash the car, because this was a matte paint scheme. And that is the truth, that you need special chemicals, a special kind of maintenance, and if you have the option, a covered parking space to maintain something like that. In fact, you'll notice that if we go up close and look, you will see a lot of smudges and fingerprints that wouldn't otherwise show up if the car had your normal shiny finish. It's again not a complaint, but that is the reality of the situation, and also one of those things that if you want it, then that's what you got to go for. What do you think of the Kia Seltos facelift? Do let us know in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the CarWale YouTube channel and hit that bell icon to be notified the instant we put out a new video. Before we sign off, here's a little reminder. Want to check out another matte edition car? We've done a detailed walk around of the Skoda Slavia matte edition. You can also check out our detailed launch video for the Honda Elevate. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.